All right, guys, welcome back. Market Pulse, bit of a change up, as you can see here. Next to the man, the myth, the legend, Juan Merchant, my dad. Feels weird calling you Juan, doesn't it?
Very much so.
Does it feel weird?
It does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, guys.
Yeah. Very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. Thanks for coming on the show. I know your time's important.
Always make time for family.
I appreciate it. We're going to jump straight in. Why have I got this guy on the podcast? 25 years in the real estate game. He's seen a lot, the ups, the downs, all the fun stuff. And you've been doing it in the Frankston South area the entirety of your real estate career, haven't you?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. So what would you say, given the current circumstance and what's happening in the market, what's your general feel on it at the minute?
General feel, look, I think there's some real good buyer confidence coming back into the market, especially with signs of the RBA looking to decrease the cash rate, and and the bank's passing that on. So it's been really, really good being in the field. We feel it on an energy basis, which is, as you know, when you're calling auctions or you've got campaigns, the buyer inquiry coming in, whether it be email, phone, text. But then also our numbers have been pretty astonishing. I'd say the last 9 months, it's been really, really, really good. Yeah.
No, I would completely agree. So you'd say over, a lot of people have said that there's a lot of fear in the market, but would you say this year it's completely changed? Like compared this time last year, if you're a seller or a buyer, what would you be saying? Is it a good time to be buying, a good time to be selling? What's your verdict?
Well, look, we've seen, auction results, so the REIV, they always collect the results.
What's the REIV? For anyone who's not familiar.
For anyone that's not watching, it's the Real Estate Institute of Victoria. So they collect the results data from every auction property that was scheduled for auction. So generally speaking, in a real good time, when it's a seller's market, it's generally 75% clearance rate and above.
Okay.
So we saw many years there that we was tracking at 80, 85%, which was awesome. What we haven't seen for a very long time, but last probably 1 to 2 years, clearance rates even hovered around that 50% for all of Victoria. So you could have 1,500 auctions, 750 selling, the 750 passing in. So that shows that there's a bit of buyer sentiment. It's become a buyer's market. What we are, though, seeing is it's starting to trend back. So the weekend that just passed, the weekend of the 8th, was it? No, sorry, the weekend, the 15th.
The 15th.
The 15th. It was 69%. So that was a really good result. And it sort of shows to me that I think more buyers are starting to enter back into the marketplace because they know that banks are going to start to reduce the cash or their interest rates. Variables are going to start to come down. People are going to be able to lock themselves into a fixed loans, etc. So we're starting to see that really
a lot more confidence.
Yeah, a lot more confidence, which is good.
So what do you reckon, based on that, we're going to go a really high level, what do you reckon the next 12 months are going to look like if you are going to enter into the market? What do you reckon in 12 months? Where do you reckon we're going to be sitting?
I think if it was me, when I'm talking to buyers or sellers, it's a great time to get into the market. I think it's plateaued. We still go up at a rate of knots. It plateaued. It went down last year. It's plateaued. And I think, and from my feeling, I think with what there could be a change of government federal-wise. If Labor's been involved for the last term, there's a chance that it could swing back into a Liberal seat. And then, you've got also some factors that they're going to bring into play. So I firmly believe that Melbourne has a huge increase. So for me, I'm tipping that we are forecast for a rise. So great time to be buying, getting into the marketplace if you're doing that. Yep.
No, that's fantastic to know. And I know you were speaking with a broker last week.
Yep.
And they mentioned, where did we fall down to fifth as the capital?
Yes, we did.
Median price.
Yep.
So we're fifth out of the 5 states. So we're the cheapest state.
Well, out of all the cities, so it's predominantly been Sydney, Melbourne as the 1-2 counterpunch, and then you got Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth, generally lagging, behind. We are at the moment the 5th cheapest in the country to buy. So that's why, look, we're starting to see a huge influx of buyers advocates, and I've seen this trend happen probably in my 25 years. It's like a wave of buyers coming through from
that's interstate buyers as well.
Interstate buyers. So we're seeing, the fight, people that are working over in WA. We've got stockbrokers that are purchasing properties in areas that they believe and forecast that it's a good time to be buying because it's at a point where it's gonna lift.
I called it our auction on the weekend.
Yes,
Dad did a fantastic auction. Cole, jump onto the Instagram, have a look at it. The battle of the buyers agents, and it was funny because the person I said it to was a buyers agent calling to see how the result went. So I said the two that fought it out at the very end were buyers agents. So
they were
interstate buyers.
And it was interesting because that particular auction, we're seeing them that was a turnkey in essence. The people, it's one of those properties they're going to comfortably rent it out, have no problem with it. But we are seeing a huge demand for properties that are a bit like turnkey. So in Frankston South, we're seeing that. Frankston, if they've got certain specific, criteria, the buyers agents are falling for, and they're paying above the market in some cases.
Pushing. Oh, yeah, they're saw pushing that. They're not hesitant to spend because they realise if you go out of town, I was speaking with a buyer's agent, even in Sydney, you're going to be spending north of 1.1. So
correct.
You look at that. What affordability? What's Frankston got? We've got two major shopping precincts, two major freeways, hospital upgrade, all these good things going for it. So it's no surprise that they're turning heads here.
Absolutely. I look at Frankston. If you look at Frankston, anything along the beach at the moment, Frankston South was always the poor cousin to Mount Eliza. So, I first started, selling in Mount Eliza. The great thing with that one, I was allocated Frankston South. People that wanted to come to Frankston South, I was trying to get them to buy in Frankston South. They were coming to our offices in Mount Eliza. As soon as you mentioned Frankston, they did not want to be part of it. So, you look at Mount Eliza median price, it's 1.6 from memory. 1.6. Frankston South tipped over just after COVID. It tipped into the $1 million, so it hit the $1 million suburb. Frankston, Seaford are the only two, and Carrum. Those three there, in my opinion, watch that space. I think it's a really good time and we're seeing people.
Carrum and Seaford have already taken off. Frankston is just because there's so many homes in Frankston. Because was it once that Frankston and Kringle were a different postcode?
No. Actually, the Whistle Stop Estate, that was, yes.
Okay.
So where Whistle Stop Estate, that used to be, because it was on Sky Road on the north side, it actually had the Frankston North postcode. Okay. And it was, as soon as it changed, prices went through the roof.
Yeah. So it's interesting because Langie's median house price is higher than Frankston's now.
Correct,
But no surprise because Langie's got, I would say, about 10,000 or under homes versus Frankston has 27,000.
27,000. And look, we're seeing a lot of subdivisions coming through. So, and the other thing that you got to look at is the high density, but also the zonings of some of the properties. Council have put through areas where you can actually have, when you're buying, you can go up 3 or 4 levels. So, we're seeing a real demand there. Buyers agents have specific criteria. The other thing you really need to look at is if you're looking at buying in an area, go to your local council and get an idea of what the vision is for there, and that really helps. So,
well, they've got some good plans for the growth of Frankston, so it'll be exciting to see what the council do. But brings me to another point over your 25 years. What would you say the biggest shift in property has been? So, what would you say? Is there any in the real estate market? What would you say the biggest shift has been?
I would say tech in real estate.
Yep.
From a job perspective, definitely has come a long way. Back in the old days, you'd have you would go to you'd be at an office where it had the biggest front exposure, street exposure. The internet's really taken that fast forwarded, and look, right now there's a lot of offices that really don't have street. They don't have to be on the main road anymore. Whereas in the old days, you had to have the biggest office, you had to have the corner office, and people would just walk in. They either selling or buying. They'd walk into the office, sit in the foyer. You'd then interview them, Yep, we got to sell. Great, let's go out. You'd pop in, or if they were a buyer, that we used to call them they'd be tapping on the window. We used to call them the magpies. So the magpies would be there, and we had it coded. I mean, not all offices, but you had them price segmented. So if people were pointing in an office, I knew, and that's how I knew. If I saw that they were pointing in a big, where the big fish were, mate, I was quick to run out the window, run out the door. G'day, how you going? How can I help you? And that's how you would go about getting, chasing business. Now, we are marketers, and
so how would you do that?
Strong
You've almost got to be super proactive now as well, because the tech side has made it quicker, more efficient. You just got to be faster, right?
Correct. Yeah. So look, I think when you've got a lot of buyers in your database, a lot of buyers tend to get left behind, if that makes sense. And I get it. Like, when you've got a beautiful listing and it's going to picture up really well, you're going to put it to market. And if the owners are realistic, you can get a fear of missing out, and you can actually get a real emotional price attached, and that's fantastic for the client. If you're a buyer, there's certainly, we're giving opportunities to buyers because we work them. Yeah. We're working the database. So people that missed out on the auction on the weekend, or auctions or made offers, we are servicing them the best way. As you know, we're going through past appraisals, we're going through our database, we're talking to people. And look, everything.
It's no different to those not seagulls, the magpies at the window. Though.
The magpies at the window, yeah.
You know that if they're ready, they've come to an auction, they're bidding. Yeah. They're active, they're searching, they want to find something, they've got a timeline they're working towards. And
correct.
A lot of people are, and you would probably agree, trading in this same market. So whether they have to buy or sell and then buy, that we're seeing that as a common theme. Yep. Like you said, a lot of investors are coming from interstate, which is good.
Yeah, that lower end market's certainly good. And what we're seeing is, though, it's a runoff effect. So those people that are selling their investment properties, but then there's people that have done up homes in that area. They then have to live somewhere. So what's happening is, some investors are cashing in, and we're seeing more homeowners rather than investors. Yep. Even though the buyers advocates are coming in, some of those advocates are buying on behalf of people that are going to be moving back from Perth to Melbourne. Which is exciting. So that they are buying on behalf of potential owners, which is really good.
Seeing value. Now, let's jump into, like we just talked about, owners.
Sure.
Say you were selling your place today.
Yep.
What would be the single thing you'd do to maximize and get top dollar? What's the single most biggest attribute when selling?
When selling, you must get your property absolutely A1 for inspection. Okay. And have that buyer's hat on. Look at the home. Most owners tend to, I'd say a majority of owners are very protective of their home, and they will look at it from their perspective. Yep. You actually got to look at it from a buyer's perspective and really go to town on it. So do a list, go through the home room by room, outside, make sure it's all done. But really, in this current market, I would say the most important thing in this market is the advertised price and the sell price that you have permission to sell from your owners. Because if you have a realistic seller, and sometimes some sellers can try and play the game. They'll go, we sold 15 years ago. Well, how you marketed a property or sold a property 15 years ago to now, it's different.
Yeah. So you'd say it was an uncertain time when COVID hit. There was a lot of confidence. The cash rate was super low. When the cash rate got raised 13 consecutive times, brought a lot of fear into the market, a lot of uncertainty. Now that they haven't increased, and there's a possibility they might be bringing that cash rate down, you would suggest that advertised price, give a lot of certainty, have certainty with the market, give you clarity to your agent, make sure that they can push it.
Absolutely. If you can get look, the biggest thing that I say to a lot of sellers in particular, look, the great thing is I get a lot, as you know, we get a lot of referrals and past business, so they are fully aware and trust the process that we bring them, and they say, we'll give you full autonomy, and Josh, this is our sell price. So that gives us a real, okay, that's great. We can work a strategy about getting you the best price, and that's happening. When you're not on the same page and you're sort of questioning every single step of the process, that to me can be don't get me wrong, like it's good to ask questions, but when you don't have faith in the process, if you start too high, you're going to burn all that first 2 weeks of your buyer inquiry. And then now, you're on the back foot. You're down the page, maybe page 7 or 8 in your suburb.
Yeah, and that's not the position you want to be in. You don't want to
the
be sitting on the
position
market. We all know that there's a median days on average, in Melbourne and in your specific suburb. Who wants an average sale? I think I said that on the last one. No one.
No one
how many people over 25 years have you said, you know what, Juan would love the average price for my place?
I've never heard anyone wanting an average price.
Yeah.
They all want a Hail Mary, hallelujah price. And we would love to do that. And you know what? If you give most agents the autonomy to do that and you had faith with them, I can assure you that the result's going to be there.
That brings me to my next question, and I was just glimpsing at it. What would you say a real raw truth is about when a client's looking to sell their house that agents don't necessarily tell them at the beginning?
I'll tell you right now, the stress that you're going to have when you sell is immense. And if it's going to be even worse if you're not educated or you've been misled. That's going to be really, really tough. I've seen people become recluses because, whether it be drop the kids off down at the school playgrounds and parents talking, saying, hey, how's the market going? How's your property going? Blah, blah, blah. We've seen clients that, unfortunately they've been on the market for 4 or 5 months and they just don't want to go out. Now, luckily we don't have that problem with our clients. Our days on market's quite good. We'll give a guarantee if we can't get an offer in 30 days, we'll release you from the contract. And that to me shows that we'll get what we need to do. When we deliver, we'll promise what we deliver. And it's really, really important that, the stress is, like that's raw. Like,
that is something that,
you think about when someone's putting a house to market and, they've got to get the gardens looking immaculate, so the husband's out in the bridal mower or, got got a gardener there. So they've invested money in there. If they've got the beautiful gardens looking absolutely pristine, that's a lot of hard work over the years to keep it that way. Inside,
and through Frankston and Frankston South, would you say that a lot of people, when you're selling their house, they're living it at the time?
Absolutely, yeah. And you know what? We want that. Like, people want to come through and it gives it a homely feel. If for argument's sake.
But that makes it harder on them as well.
Yeah, it does. Look, in an ideal world, it would be great to say to the clients, look, guys, can you pick up, go sit in go on a holiday for 3 or 4 weeks? Some clients do that. But when you've got kids at school, VCE, exams, etc., you still have to do the day-to-day things. You have to live. And, look, we came from a photo shoot today, a beautiful home in Frankston South. Internally it's about 30 plus squares, 2-story home. The wife, ran around feverishly, got the cleaners, but, just little touch-ups. And she's like, oh, we want it sold now because to continue to do this, it's quite stressful. And it is, because at night they're going to have dinner, they're going to sit at the table, all the cushions that are looking in, pristine
condition. They've been karate chopped and amazing. But the kids are going to come in and throw them off the bed,
they're throwing in their school bags, they're going to, leave the dishes out, they're going to leave crumbs on the, that's what happens.
It happens.
So it happens. So, that would be something that, there are stresses there. Yeah. But if you have a timeline you can work within, and that's the important thing. You don't want to be on the market. If you're on the market 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months, and we're saying 100 plus days on the market, I can tell you now, if you're that price or that agent or that property that's on the market 100 days plus, you're like an elevator.
There's only so many problems, I guess, a house can have. Or something like it's either the price, the location, the agent, the promotion. There's only a few elements that are really going to implicate that sale, and it's just they all need to align, and it needs to align with that family, and like you said, their needs at the time. So
absolutely, and you want to have everyone wants to be wanted They want their home. Like everyone, it's funny. We have a lot of people that will go and one of the questions we ask: what do your friends say when they walk in your home? And it's like, wow, look, we love the entertaining area. It's just got great flow from the inside to the outside. The tennis court or the pool, etc. So we get all these intel. So we target those sort of buyers. But if 2 months goes by and they haven't had an offer and they're sitting at the cafe with their friends and no result, they get a little bit disappointed, and that's understandable. That's human. It's human.
What can be one thing that you would say would stop a really good sale for a seller?
I think there's
and I'll put you on the spot dramatically here. I'll give you a little moment to think about it.
I think there's, Tomo or Robbo who knows real estate back to front, and based on that sale down the road that sold 3 years ago, that went for 2.5, and I reckon yours is better and you should get 2.8. Mate, I'm sorry, that Robbo down the road's not buying your house. The buyers in the current market are, and what you're going to be buying is in the same market. It comes back to you, so focus on you.
That's a really good answer. That brings me to what stops buyers from buying their dream home? What's one thing?
Well, from my 25 years of experience,
I've seen it. I'm sorry to cut you short. I've seen it a few times lately.
Yep.
And it's very interesting, the dynamic. And you're like, okay.
Well,
focus on you guys.
Hopefully you're on the same page with me. But I've seen a lot of parents and there's a reason why. Parents are very, how can I say, very negative on the properties their children are looking at. And look, having chatted to a lot of the brokers, they're actually, the reason why parents are probably that way is they're invested because they're vested in that situation.
They're probably going guarantor.
They're going guarantor, or they're making sure that their kids are making the right decision. But ultimately, I've seen people miss out on properties that they could have purchased at a price, and 1 or 2 months later, they're still in the marketplace. They're still on the conveyor belt, the buyer conveyor belt. They're looking online, looking on realestate.com, spending 2-3 hours a day talking to agents, going through opens, their weekends. They don't have a weekend. They're trying to navigate sports, getting their kids to sports, or this, that, and the other. And guess what? They become time poor. Time's money. So you know what? Some of these parents have actually cost their sons and daughters really good opportunities. So that's what I would say, from my point of view.
Do you see a lot of people actually just love the idea of being in the market, if that makes sense? Like a buyer is just going through time and time again open homes just because they must love it. Like, is that a?
Absolutely.
I've seen a couple, but I don't know if you've seen that over. I'm sure you've just consistently seen that.
I've seen a particular buyer that's been in the marketplace over the last year and a half, and I'm astounded that they haven't been able to buy a property, because I believe that we are now on the trajectory where it's going to be going upwards. So if they don't lock in something now and they go 6 months more or 12 months,
it's gotten better now.
It's got better. Had they probably purchased a couple of properties that I know that we had, 6 to 12 months ago, they would be pretty happy. But hey, guess what? They must have a lot of time on their hand, because they love going through properties, meeting agents, and you know what? They get sick of the phone calls. How funny is that?
Well, they must love ours because we do all the canapes and all the grand previews. We actually do get a few people, and we're going to thank them. Like, we actually do get a few people that do neighbours, but and 100%. You want to track your market, you want to know what's going on, and you want to see what the property is going to go for.
It's like anything. Like, if you look at your share market, your shares or crypto, if you're looking at daily, you're not going to really. But over time, with property, there can be some, when there's some really big results, clients, then their ears prick up. They go, hey, look, we just saw that you sold that. How did that happen? And
what was the process?
What's the process? But hey, look, I tend to, will say to them, look, the Colonel at KFC doesn't reveal these herbs and spices. But
I reckon if we ChatGPT'd that, I reckon it would come up.
Absolutely, yeah, probably.
I've actually just thought of that on the spot.
But the thing is, funny. The thing is, look, we give clients always an update. Today I was speaking to 2 agents. We sold 2 properties, and it's really important to have. I just spoke to them, and they just called. I actually had a client that's got a property around the corner. I'm thinking about getting it on the market, and I noticed that there was no sold or I couldn't actually see the number. So I contacted him. He was straightforward, gave us the information. I sort of said, hey, I know you've got a property going to auction around the corner. We sold this for this. He said, I really appreciate it. Anything, because ultimately the more sales that occur, the better it is for everyone. And I think at the end of the day,
everyone.
It's best to be transparent as they might have a seller that is going to be buying through us. So we see that all the time. So I think, that comes back to agents. Like in my time down here, there's maybe one or two in my 25 years that they're arrogant or they're rude. They're not sharing or forthcoming. That's fine. They're lone rangers, and they're a bit like a Haley's comment. They come and they go very quickly. They might, shoot up really well, but the majority of good agents will be happy to share the results and say, hey, we sold this for this, and you can let your clients know, because sometimes an owner might, I've had a couple just recently where they said, well, what'd you sell that for? Oh, that's a great price. Our owners are still wanting a little bit extra, but you're telling me that this is where the feedback was, and that was the two offers. Hey, we're happy to, and they conveyed that to the owner so that they could get them in a winning position to sell their home.
It makes them make an educated decision that that's the market, the signs of the market, and regardless if they want that information or not, at least that other agent, you're collaborative. I think it's important for the marketplace, regardless if we're competition, to be able to know that information. You're going to be able to help a lot more people in that marketplace.
Absolutely. Look, I've had properties where in a complex, for example, we listed like unit 4 and then unit 3, and it happens. Unit 3 in this complex just popped up online. So I had to say to my clients, look, based on this here, this is going to hinder our sale process. So we need to just sit back a bit and wait. Or if it's going to help, I'll say, look, let's launch it, because those people there have put a bit of GST and mayo on top. It's actually going to help us get more people through the door and get you sold. And they're going to go through that one. Everyone's going to make a play for yours before they're going to make a play for that one.
Very true. Yep. Well, I reckon, is there any questions you had or anything else you wanted to touch on for the director's update? I wanted to talk about one thing, but
I just wanted to say, Josh, your delivery and your insight, and the intentional focus on Frankston South's been enormous, and just the stats and the knowledge, it's astounding. I love watching them because it really gives you a really good insight, but you can actually see how much you love being where you are, which is awesome. So,
I said in my last video, it's actually thank you, Dad. Much appreciated. It's been good fun, learning a lot, and you know me, when I put my mind to something, I'm very process driven. It works out well. So
absolutely.
Very articulate, and I like the marketing and all this fun stuff. As this is a one take, might I add. So any stuff ups, you will see it nice and live. It's almost like we went live with this. But I wanted to touch on one thing. Big congratulations to you. Number 1, Rate My Agent. Agent of the Year 2025 for Frankston South. That was awarded to you last Friday, so that's a huge congrats. It's what does it mean for you? and tell the viewers, what is Rate My Agent? Tell them a bit about that so that they can understand it and the importance as well.
Well, that's an award within our industry for agents working in Frankston South. So I think there's 137 agents, and fortunately for us, we took out. There is a formula there that you've got to get when you sell a property. You should request a testimonial from your seller, and then that's based on that. So, we got nearly 80. I think it was over 80% of our sellers to come back to us. We spoke to we requested everyone, and we were in terms of sales, you had to be in the top 5 volume. We're sitting, number 2, and look, for us as a small team, but we really value our clients and they come first. So for me, that's probably more.
It's awesome.
It's and that's where it's very humbling and look, it's a great honor.
But for anyone, it's every word is taken into consideration for the reviews. So all of Dad's, sellers that he's actually sold for, regardless of the outcome, we make sure we do a great job. He does a fantastic job. And that's reflected in this award. It's all based on testimonials and the amount of requests and everything we do. So it's huge. It's not just a small thing. It's not just having the most amount of sales and absolutely just going for a volume.
Well, it's a bit like anyone can get a testimonial and a highlight, and put a highlight reel when it's good. When it's good. So one day doesn't make a hot summer. But to me, it's like just, stepping up every time to the plate and delivering. That's what we do. And look, there's been cases where, the owners were wanting a little bit extra. We felt maybe just shy of where it was. We still requested that review because the process that we delivered from the first time the paperwork and the ink was signed to the end process, we followed through and delivered exactly what we were going to do. So I'm not shy in coming forth and saying, hey, look, can we get a review? Because that's one of the things I say.
It's our value, one of our values.
It's one of our values, transparency.
We want to be trust and transparency. Yep. So if we always want to make sure we get those reviews. So even though we've had some keyboard warriors on the Google reviews, which we cannot control. You can't control the controllables.
You know what? When you get lemons, you make a lemonade out of it. And
there's some good ones, actually. It's pretty funny. But.
Yeah, the one on the weekend where we had a buyer that came through a property and it would just so happen that it didn't sell at auction, but we've just sold it over the weekend. But there was some tenants who'd left plates in the...
And don't get me wrong, they left it a mess. And
they left it a mess,
We're not going to denote that. Yep. And we're not going to take away from it, but we can't actually do anything about it.
We can't do anything because of the rules, etc.
We even got the gardens done.
Oh, we got the gardens
before and had a coffee van. So.
Yeah, and this guy gave us a 2-star review based on something that we couldn't control. So I had a little bit of a play with words and expressed that, look, as staggering as it was, ultimately it's out of our control. We did provide free coffees. We do provide a service, and it took 35 days to get the result that was required. So look, you just play with it. At the end of the day, haters are going to hate,
and it's always going to happen. Now, for those, we do love 3199. So Frankston South, they're both in that postcode. Where's your favourite cafe? I'm just going to spit fire here.
Flourish.
Where's that? For anyone who's watching.
That's in Norman Avenue. That's Norman Avenue, Frankston South. You've got Bernie is up there. Lou is in charge behind the counter. Got the lovely ladies there. But Bernie and the crew at the front, I love having a chat with them. They're usually talking about the day-to-day things and, talking footy, talking world. We have a bit of a laugh, giggle, but there's some really good clientele.
You can find us there on a Saturday. Yep. Where's your favourite pizza in Frankston South?
Favourite pizza, I would say, Yummy Pizza on Heather Hill Road. Without doubt, they do a fantastic pizza. But yeah, there's a couple there. That's it. But yeah, George and the family they do George and Paul, amazing job down there, and service wise they're just super. And it's a family run business too.
Awesome. And that sums everything up. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been
no worries, Josh. Thank you.
Pleasure as always. And it's not like we don't talk often enough, but guys, I'll see you in the next one. We are going to be doing this a bit infrequently. I do think it was important. It's Feb 17th. We're 6 weeks in. You've done 6 auctions. We're 6 from 6 so far. Yep. And the market seems to have a lot more confidence. So it's very exciting times. Much appreciated you coming on. You won't be the first, won't be the last. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having us.